Thanks for joining us for 5 on 5. I'm Joe Sullivan, pleased to be joined today by Andrea Meyer, Government Relations Director for AARP Oregon. Welcome.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
All right, the 2025 Oregon legislative session starts in January. What are some of the areas that AARP lobbies on?
Well, AARP advocates for the 50-plus and their families, and we have almost 500,000 members here in Oregon, and it's going to be another busy session for us. We work on a broad range of issues. So some of them include housing, issues around those who are facing homelessness. Older Oregonians are at highest risk. There is the importance of accessibility with housing. We're going to have a big transportation package next session, and it's important that it represents and supports everyone regardless of mobility so that you can age in place. We, of course, always continue our work to advocate for those who are living in long-term care facilities, making sure that the resources and the protections are there for them. We work in community on frauds and scams, and that shows up in consumer protections. And we work on financial resilience and prescription drugs, just a host of issues.
This session, AARP's priority issue is to update Oregon's workplace age discrimination law. Why is this so important to y'all?
We started hearing from our members. We were getting phone calls, and they were talking about that they were experiencing age discrimination in the workplace. And we said, call a lawyer, call bully. And they said they had. And it turned out, when we asked folks a bit more, that the law is broken. It's now much harder to prove workplace age discrimination than any other form of discrimination. We know it's a problem. We have talked to folks in our community. You know, it shows up in both the hiring and in the firing of when people are affected, and age bias is prevalent. We've done research on this. So we know in Oregon, when we asked Oregonians 40 and older who are working or looking for a job, 55% had said they'd experienced workplace age discrimination. Of those, 88% said it was common. And what's really very interesting is this crosses party lines. Republicans, Democrats, and independents all experience this, unfortunately. More than half had applied for a job in the last 5 years, and more than 55% had been asked their age, their date of birth, or their graduation dates. So Randy's one example. This spring, he was working, he's a mechanical engineer. He's in a long-term project, and his supervisor was coming to his end. His supervisor said, "Are you interested in continuing on?" He said, "Absolutely." He set up an interview with 2 project managers. He met with them. It was going great. They were, "Do you have this experience?" "Yes, I have that." "Do you have that experience?" "Yes, I have that." They even got to talking about international travel. They were hitting on all cylinders. And then one of the project managers said to Randy, "Is it okay if I ask you how old you are?" Now, Randy was thinking to himself, no, it's not okay, but he needed a job, because that's the reality for many people who are older. They need the work for financial reasons. So Randy answered the question, "I'm 62. Well, the tenor of the interview changed. The supervisor, or excuse me, the project manager was, "I think you'd tire out in this job. This work may be too hard for you." Randy even offered to work for a few weeks just to see how it went. They said, no, he didn't get the job. So we know it's a reality. We know we need to address this in the legislature.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and come back with how you all can fix this problem in the legislature. All right, stay with us. We're coming right back with part 2. Welcome back to part 2 of our 5 on 5. We're talking about the AARP and discrimination in the workplace, and how can we fix it?
Well, we've got 2 fixes next session. Our bill will fix it because there's a hiring problem, and part of it is older workers, it takes them a lot longer to find that next job. And part of the barrier is the request for them to provide information about their age, date of birth, or graduation date. So we want to stop that until after the initial interview, especially those online application systems. You need to put down your degree. Sure, I've got a degree, but you can't hit that next button until you put your graduation date in. So that's our first fix. We've done that in a few states already.
Is there any opposition to the proposed fixes?
There is opposition. Business opposes our efforts. And when we've talked to them and they've spoken about it, their reasons are the law is not broken. And frankly, for business, the law isn't broken. But for older workers, it is. And so it's time to level the playing field. You know, age discrimination is now much harder to prove than any other form of discrimination in Oregon law. And that's what we're trying to do, is level it again.
We've got about 30 seconds. How can people help?
Well, we want to make sure that legislators hear from their constituents across the state. And that's so important. And we've got a petition that folks can add their name to. So if you go to aarp.org/ORfuture, they can join and sign the petition, and then we will hand deliver those petitions to their legislators in the 2025 session.
Very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, stay with us. We'll be back with more local news after this short break.